Hello, today I welcome you to my channel. I am Ambassador Ihoma Ephraim. We're going to be talking about value. V-A-L-U-E, value. Do we still consider value as worthwhile in our society? In a nutshell, value helps someone define what is proper, correct, important, beautiful, worthwhile, and desirable. Values are the beliefs that motivates people to act a certain way. For example, people who value honesty tend to be on time and like to spend their time with other honest people. Are members in the society gradually phasing out in values? I'd like you to spend some time on this video.
And in this video, I'm going to be talking about how to teach children values. We're going to talk more about values so that we can understand what real values are and what that even means. And then we're going to talk about key things that you can do to instill values in children. If you look the word value up, it says that a person's values are their principles or standards for life, the things that they hope to live. Basically, a person's judgments about what is important in life to them. But I'd like to go a little bit deeper than that. When we're talking about how we're going to teach values to children, let's have a deeper understanding of what value really means. So let's look at the root of the word of values and just go to value. What does that mean? If you look in Webster's 1828 dictionary, then you can see that the word value actually means what the worth of something is, or how useful something is, what it can be used for, and what its price might be. So when we think about our values, our standards, and the things that are important to us, what we're really saying is, what do we value the most? What is the most useful to us? So when we're talking about teaching a person values, then we need to keep in mind that we're teaching them worth. We're teaching them that there are some things that they should desire more than other things. So really, we're scripting a person when we're teaching them their values. We're helping them decide their priorities. Because essentially, if you say this is something that's worth or worthwhile or useful, you're declaring it as more important than possibly other things or other actions. And so you're making something a priority. That's a pretty big thing to teach a person. So how do you go about teaching that to another person? Let's talk about that. So years ago, I happened upon a book. I found it at just some thrift shop, and it was written by somebody, last name Bennett, I believe, and it was all about values for children and teaching values for children. So there was a section in the book on courage, and a section on honesty, and a section on being caring, right, or kind, those kinds of things. So I started looking through this and I thought, this is pretty basic, and actually the stories are okay, but I can think of maybe even some better stories that I might like to share with my children. Stories from my past, stories from my grandmother, my grandfather, stories from classical literature that I would like to share. And I think maybe I would rather teach these characteristics or values in that way. Because really, when we're talking about values and what's important to you, the standards you live by, we're talking about your characteristics that you're trying to espouse or who you're trying to become. So if you teach values, you teach honesty, the whole idea is that the person is then wanting to become honest, right? Or to become kind or courageous or whatever those particular characteristics are. Behind all of those values are actually principles. So when something is a principle, it's true. There's a truth in there. That principle, because it's broadly applicable, is going to apply to every discipline that there is. So when you teach a person values, it should hopefully make their math experience different, their literature experience different, their social experiences different, their work ethic different. Everything that they do should suddenly become different. And this process of teaching a person values is actually a process of maturing a person. So you're helping them to mature in emotional ways, in social ways, by teaching them things that end up relating to decorum and etiquette and valuing other people, those kinds of things. So we're helping a person go from a state of immaturity to maturity. And one of the most logical ways to start is actually with stories. So many people teach children values with stories. So if you think of the story, the classical little story of the Three Little Pigs. In the Three Little Pigs, we see the value of hard work because 2 pigs get eaten and another pig does not get eaten because he puts in more hard work. So that's one story that teaches values. There's another story about the little engine that could. So we have the value of persistence, or keep trying, keep going, keep focusing on where you're headed. Or what about the little red hen? Now we've got the value of work again. So this is a big one that parents are always trying to teach their children: work. They don't want their children to have years of laziness and for them to not eat, right? If you don't learn the value of work, you might not eat. Not working leads to not eating. When we teach a person to follow values and what values they should follow, we're actually teaching them a lot of life lessons. Many people will go to scriptural sources for good values training. Before I ever allowed my children to watch a television program or a movie, I would preview it. And in this day and age, you can preview everything because everything is on demand. So preview it. See if you think that it's the lesson in values that you want to share with your children. And if there's no lesson in it, why waste your time?